The program Perspectives is reaching out in Victor 98.9. This morning, we're looking at the situation in Kaduna State. When I talk about the situation in Kaduna State, I'm talking about the peace moves that have been in place in Kaduna State to see to it that we live as brothers and sisters, that the state becomes so peaceful for us to do business and carry on our activities. Yes, the government has been on top of this. Kaduna State government has been on this, and of course, other concerned citizens and stakeholders have been playing a part in making sure that Kaduna comes back to its glorious days of peace for one another in the state and love for one another. We were doing this morning with some concerned citizens, and I must say at this time that in the forefront of moving for peace and stability in Kaduna State. My guest this morning, well, known to you in the news, have been in the news of recent. And what have they been doing? They have been moving around and saying that we must live in peace and that Kaduna State will be better for it. This morning I have with me Barrister Francis Kuza. He is a legal practitioner and Salim Achib in Kaduna State. Barrister Francis Kuza, good morning. Glad to have you here.
Good morning.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be with you this
All
morning.
right. I also have with me Dr. Yandi Ahmed Meriga. He is the president of Mopkal, Fulbe, and Section Fulani Savangari Bypass Kaduna. Good morning. Glad to have you too.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Yeah. Two of you have been in the news, and for very obvious reasons that Kaduna State must, be peaceful, and we must have peace in Kaduna State of all the tribes, and settlers, indigenes, and all of us residing in Kaduna State must be at peace with one another. With you, Barrister Francis Kuza, all the moves, peace moves that you've been going through and still not, done with it yet. What was the concern here, especially knowing that, I'll come to that. Name calling was into it, and of course, all the words that we would not want to hear, sellouts and things like were put into all your peace moves. For you, why has it become so important and very important that we live in Kaduna safely, and of course, we have peace to do business and move Kaduna on?
Thank you very much. For me, for us as a people in the Chipdom, for instance, we have come to the realization that all the narratives in the media on the crisis in Southern Kaduna, on the crisis in our Chipdom, are not tailored towards finding permanent solutions to the crisis. And we felt that we cannot continue like this. It's a narration that has to do with an eye for an eye, a teeth for a teeth. It's a narration that has to do with accusations and counter-accusations. It's a narration that has to do with false history here and there. This one is a settler, this one is a native, and so on. And all these issues collectively does not offer solution to the crisis, to the challenges of peace we have in Southern Kaduna and we have in Kaduna in the Kingdom. To this effect, we felt that, look, time has come. We have had enough of an eye for an eye. We have had enough of a tooth for a tooth. We have had enough of all these false narratives about who to blame, who not to blame. We decided to let us look inward and profile solutions that will bring peace, permanent peace to our community. That is what we need. And that's what we are doing now. Because we discovered that people will prefer to go to the United Nations, to the International Court of Justice and Hague, and so on and so forth, without offering solutions to the local people who are resident in our children area. UN cannot come and bring peace for us in Chipdom, West Kaduna. The International Court of Justice cannot come. So what we need to do is to be able to cultivate peace on the ground. Generate peace on the ground, and then let the people realize the need to maintain peace. Let the people know that, look, security is in our hands, that we have a responsibility to secure our environment. It's not just government. Yes, it is a primary school government to provide security of lives and property. There's no doubt about that. But we cannot provide security without the cooperation of the natives, of the people on ground. If you bring the whole military in Nigeria to a Chipdom of Southern Kaduna, they can never maintain peace. The people have to resolve to maintain peace among themselves. Herein lies what we are doing. We said, look, we have had enough of all these things. Let us now go back home and talk peace within our local community, within our people, and tell them what they need to do to be able to bring peace. That informed our meeting of the 2nd August 2020 in Etiopia.
Dr. Salim Yande Ahmed Miriga, your president of Fubi and Sarkin Fulani Savangari bypass Kaduna. We're having two people that are very involved in this situation of the Atiap, and of course we have the Fulani involved here too. We will talk about some of the narratives that have been put in place, religion, and of course, natives, and of course settlers. And we have a history of what had happened in the past in that area, that there's been a peaceful coexistence before it grew up into the crisis we're having. What is it that we do not understand about each other in this region?
Well, thank you very much. I think, like Barrister Koza said, the narrative has been, if I'm so kind to my conscience, I will use the word intruders. Intruders to mean people who will come and fish, dine and wine, and take advantage of the peace to culminate crisis so that they will be able to make market for their weapons. They will be able to make market with their so-called faith that this one is better than the other. They will be able to make market with antecedents of trying to look at it as somebody belong and somebody does not belong. Somebody is an indigent, somebody is a settler. Then some utterances again leads to all this chaos, because you cannot look at somebody and then just undermine him by trying to look at him as a class citizen. Let's say, for example, the Hausa man will look down upon on the Fulani because he's down there in the bush with his house. He doesn't know, he doesn't have any knowledge, he doesn't have this and that. The Atia people will look at it and say, you people that just came. So all this narrative, and unfortunately the media in itself, instead of trying whatever they hear, make a balanced information, get a balanced information, sometimes it will be towed towards one direction. Because if you look at like what he said, going to United Nations, going to US Embassy, all these things, for God's sake, the question is, on that 22nd of August 2020, if a paramount ruler of high status and standard, like the Agwatiap, will come out and face the world and say the truth and nothing but the truth, to say that he first of all mentioned his own people. He said the Atiap people are guilty. The Fulani are guilty. The Hausa people are also guilty. All the genocide has never been the Atiap killing the Atiap, or the Hausa killing the Hausa, or the Fulani killing the Fulani. And all these tribes have been involved in this genocide and atrocities. So if that is the case, he now further went to say, posterity will never forgive all of us, the Hausa, the Atiap, and the Fulani, if we do not come back to reasonable conclusion and find a lasting solution to this problem that has lasted for over 4 decades. If that is the situation, what are we going to do? I keep on saying that this word peace, it has no any alternative word than peace itself. You cannot bring violence to claim you want to have peace, but you can use peace to destroy violence. And that is the headline, and that is the masterpiece of where we are heading to. If you look at that 14-point communique that was signed that day, I signed for my people, the Fulani. And we believed with the Fulani, who are always at the disadvantaged position, that, we are so pleased to be in that meeting, even though we had fears, we expressed a lot of anxiety whether it was going to be true or not. But for the fact that these past generations, up to about 4 decades, something substantially has never been organized in such a manner by any of the ethnic tribes in southern Kaduna or through the chiefdom, except the Atiap chiefdom, where this thing has been so pronounced when it comes to wanton killing, destruction of property, and what not, from 1992 to date. And we are the first people to lead champion the cause of saying, look, enough is enough. We felt with the Fulani, there is need to, catch into this, give it a trial, because we cannot continue to lose life. One life is important than everything. And we believe from that day, and having the faith and the enthusiasm in us, and believing that we should not live back to the generation yet unborn this type of disturbing attitude from us, we felt that by the grace of God, peace will return in southern Kaduna, and the media should as a matter of their urgency, in order not to further worsen the situation for us, because they are the people that tell the world what is happening. They should always be give the information as balanced as it is. Even if they will edit, let them not edit the substance. Let them edit any other thing, but not the substance of the information, so that the community, the society, the country, and the world at large will not continue to be misled about Southern Kaduna. After all, if whatever that happened in Southern Kaduna, is it as worse as what happened in Rwanda? Certainly no. Is it as worse as what happened in former Germany that came back and united and became one nation? No. Is it as worse as what happened in Ife Modakeke that have come back to be the same people? No. Is it as even worse close to us here in the local government between the Kahugu and the Gure people that almost wiped themselves out of the surface of the earth and came back today and they are the same people? I think we shall succeed in South Africa.
Yes, encouraging as it is. Barrister Francis Kuga, it is not a peculiar situation of the Southern Kaduna people, what we have in this particular native issue. It is all over. We see it all in all regions. And for people, that wants to, stay together, live together for development, and nation building. Why is that, of Southern Kaduna? Why is it showing its face this way? That people want to claim, ancestral land that have been there before anybody, as we see in other parts of the country. What are the underlying issues here?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, let me say that none of our parents produce this thing for land. None of them produce it. Land is a creation of God. It is God that founded land. And all of us are God's children. And as God's children, we are entitled to the usage of that land. When God created the world and created land, he said we should go and exploit it and enjoy it. So anybody, all of us are God's creation. So all of us, by virtue of the fact that we are God's creation, we are entitled to land. That is one. Number two, the Constitution of Nigeria provides that every Nigerian citizen has a right to acquire property and live anywhere he so chooses, without any harassment, without any banishment, and so on and so forth. So anybody can stay anywhere. Look, this is a FM with an Invicta radio. This land upon which Invicta radio was established, but it was owned by somebody else who claimed that it was his property. But Invicta radio had acquired this property and developed it, and he's using it. I'm telling you that where you claim is your indigenous land, in 200 years, nobody will know you. I have acquired the property in Kaduna here. I built my house. I don't know who can claim that he's the original native of that land. I don't even know him. I don't think he even knows me. But I'm claiming that land in Kaduna here to build my own house. So let us forget about all these ancient narratives of native, of this, of that, settlers, and so on. We are all brothers and sisters. And we should acquire property, develop those properties, and enjoy the fruit of those development. That is the point. That is the point we're talking about. There is no community that can, on its own, live and develop and exploit the land. We have enough land in Southern Kaduna. We have enough land in Chapter that everybody can come and exploit it for our own benefit. For goodness sake, let us forget about all those things. These are things that create enmity between us. These are things that create enmity between us. So let us discard them. Develop your property wherever you are. Exploit the land and enjoy it. Look, when government acquires property, government did not give you property on the property. What government does is to give you input to development on unexhausted improvement on that property. Why? Because the land does not belong to you. The land is God's land. The land is government land. They can acquire it. They can do whatever they want with it. So let us forget about all these narratives. And I want to tell you, sir, that you know that even in our traditional institution today, there are people who are, let me put it in quote, who are not natives in quote, that have been given traditional titles. And they are contributing very well to the development of those communities which have been recognized and given titles, more than the so-called indigenous of those places. So please let us move away from all these narratives. Let us live as brothers, God's creation, God's people, and exploit the land that God has entrusted into our care. Be our brothers' keepers, and we live in peace. That's just the point I'm making.
Dr. Andy, on that day, that day that we had the gathering of stakeholders, from all parts, the Fulani, the Hausa, the Atiap, all sitting down on a table to discuss peace moves for this area. What was the feeling like for you? That you came, hold hands, rub shoulders, and throw a smile at each other. What was the feeling like on that?
Barrister Koza is
I see what you're saying, right? I see what you're saying. Yes.
Because I was so moved. If I wish you have this picture of your WhatsApp, read it very well. This is a man of integrity who had worked and retired and grew to a very responsible position of a permanent secretary in the Kaduna State Civil Service and got back and got bestowed on him that position. And you know, as a Roman Catholic, he is not just a Roman Catholic, but a Knight of St. Mulumba. So whatever that comes out from the mouth of people of such timber and caliber is, I want to call it, is a voice of dissent. And dissent voices of men are voices of God. So I was so, excited to the extent that I didn't know when I blew off before everybody, and including the Agwatia. I'm sorry to withdraw that saying because I challenged all the Atia people, and that might include the Agwatia, that I said, look, to show you that me, I'm not just an indigenous of Southern Kaduna, from Zango Kato, local government, from the Achap Kingdom. I am challenging every Atiab man or woman seated here who knows he can speak Atiab language very well to come before me here and let's speak Atiab for 10 minutes without adding a Hausa word or an English word. Pure Atiab. The whole when, roaring and clapping. You could see it's a part of an excitement. I further went to tell them that for us to cancel this indigenous settler rubbish in Kaduna State and in Southern Kaduna in particular, it should start with me. I say, how do we explain? Somebody I was using myself as an example. I said I was born in Samaru Katam 61 years ago. My father's grave is in Samaru Katam 35 years now. 61 plus 35. My father lived 102 years before he died. 35 plus 61 plus 102. And then his father, Yusuf, my grandfather, Daddy told us that he lived for about 78 to 79 years before he died. 78 plus 102 plus 35 plus 61. And you still look at the face of that person and tell him a settler? I mean, it's ridiculous. So I was so excited that day that I went back to my land. Could you believe that since after the Zangon Katab crisis of 1992, I have never stepped on Atiab land or Samaru Katab where I was born until on that day? That gives enough excitement. So by the grace of God, we the Fulani, I want to say it loud and clear that God's willing, inshallah, we have come to ensure that this situation that we are in finding a roadmap to peaceful coexistence between us, and not only the Achap and the Hausa people, even other communities that come there to settle, like the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Igalas, and every other person, that they will have a place to live called Southern Kaduna of their ancient times, of their present time, and in future generations and other generations yet in Ombol to come and enjoy the fruit of their own labor. By the way, the Bible said, knock and it shall what? Seek the kingdom of God first.
Fine.
And what? Everything. What are we doing for ourselves in Southern Kaduna? Sir, I was born and trained by the Roman Catholic missionaries, the white people, as a Muslim. 50 down years ago, I was the only Muslim child in LA Primary School, Mabushi, and the only Fulani child. I went like that through my primary 6, and I was trained by the Roman Catholic, but there was not a single day a white man, even when they now left and everything went back to our own black Roman Catholic brothers and sisters, nobody ever asked me if I would convert to Christianity, as small as I was that day. So what is happening today in the name of ethnicity, in the name of religion, in the name of this, in the name of that? See, issue of religion is a personal sentiment. Allow me to use the word sentiment between one and his creator. After all, the people that worship even idols, God give them the power to do whatever they want to do. So, if God decided to make me a Fulani, make Barrister Koza an Atiap, make the other person a Hausa, make the other person an Idoma, what did the Bible say and what did the Quran say? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Holy Quran that He has created us nation, tribes, communities for no any other purpose. For us to understand each other, love each other, and have the sympathy of each other at any material time when the need and support is needed from you. So what are we doing in Southern Kaduna? Sir, let me tell to the listeners and to everybody who is listening to me, any community, it can be a nation, it can be a division, it can be a local government or anything. Any community that doesn't have the power, the technology to produce, the technology to defend itself, and the technology to be able to manipulate and use the available resources to make a fortune is finished. That is why my beautiful Southern Kaduna is where we are today. Look at it, around Samaruba, Bushi, Lanson, Dankasa, and all those subordinate villages. You cannot see any project. Why? Because of insecurity. You cannot take your wealth and riches and whatever to go and invest in a place that you wake up to see it being bombed or destroyed or whatever. The only thing you can see standing that I saw that day standing is a filling station that is built by NNPC. That is the only thing you can see around where I was born. Why? Because we don't want to stay in peace. I want to state and clearly that those people who eat and dine and enjoy and make fortunes from crisis and come back to say they are crisis managers, they are this, they are that, shame to them. Southern Kaduna, by the grace of God, between the Achab, the Fulani, and the House, and every other person that will live there, will come a period very soon that we will tell the army, look, Buhari, carry your army and go. Erufai, carry your every security and take them wherever. We in Southern Kaduna, we are self-sustained, we are self-sufficient, we can be able to maintain and take care of ourselves because this issue of peace, like you mentioned, going to UN, we have decided to take ownership of the security of Southern Kaduna and expose any criminal who will not want peace there to ensure that government deal with him. If we realize that the government is even shielding them, we will come out and tell the world that this is what government is doing, even if it is my own biological brother as a Fulani. Thank you.
Master Francis, government has received a lot of bashing on this issue. And I'll say for the governor of Kaduna State, Madam Nasir El-Rufai, he stands out as, a star in this, when he said that the people of Southern Kaduna would make it difficult for themselves if there's no peace in the area. How can development even come in there? And so he had always called for peace. But it's this same government that's been receiving bashing about being one-sided, in taking care of the peaceful moves or peace in Kaduna State. For government, with different colorations and interpretations given on government or put on government in the handling of this issue. How do you see it?
Well, thank you very much. I want to say, first of all, that no leader, whether political, whether traditional, whether religious, no genuine leader will be happy to see his people or his followers suffer, to see people being killed, to see properties being burned. Nobody will be happy. And no reasonable man will be happy. And I believe that the governor is a reasonable man. Nobody will be happy. He is not happy. And when things like this happen, remember that this crisis had happened a long time ago, even when he was not governor. We have a history of that. But whenever the right is being thrown, they would rather not look at the issues, but rather be emotional, be political about the issues. And so they begin to lay blame where there is none. We in a practitioner, let me tell you the fact that we came to realization that look, just like my brother, when he said, the Etiap has killed Fulani, you can't take away that. The Fulani has killed Etiap, you can't take away that. The Hausa people have also been killed by either Etiap or Fulani, and the Hausa people have killed Etiap or Fulani. So we all say, look, this is our problem. It's not the governor's problem. It's not the governor that's killing us. It is we that are killing ourselves. It's not the governor that is killing us. It is we ourselves that are killing ourselves. And we realize this and say, look, gentlemen, enough is enough. We have had enough. The problem is inherent in us. Let us resolve this issue among ourselves. And we have so resolved it. And I thank my brother for the way he spoke on that day and the way he's still talking now. That shows that we have resolved to live in peace. Whether the governor likes it or not, he cannot come and cause crisis, and he will never come and cause crisis in our midst once we are united. So what we are saying is that let us come back home. Every community should get back home. Get back home and try to do what the Etiap has done. Look, I was so happy by the weekend when I heard that there's a particular community in Jamal government have done similar thing. I was so happy last week when I heard that the harm people have done the same thing. So if we take security in our hands, I will find it difficult for anybody to infiltrate and cause any harm in our community. That is the truth about it. Government will just come in and supplement us and support us. Because once we do that, then we know that relative peace will be brought to our people. We are not saying that we're going to have a society where there will be no breach of law. There's no doubt about it. Every society has to go challenge it. But the point we are making is that henceforth, if you commit any crime in our kingdom, you are going to be held accountable to the life we are. You'll be arrested, you'll be prosecuted, no matter who you are. no matter your religion, no matter your tribe, no matter your color, no matter your wealth, no matter your standing in society, you must be prosecuted. We are resolved to doing that. And that is the message we are taking to the people. And I'm assuring you that we, by God's grace, with the support of the government, when we presented this committee to His Excellency the Governor, he was so excited. He was so excited on that day. And he praised His Highness the Water. He praised the achievement committee. And listen, and look, this is the best way to go. That even if I send all the military in Kaduna State to your place, it will not be 10 peace. But now that you have resolved with them, I am assured that I'm going to support this initiative. And I'm sure that you succeed. Out of excitement of what happened, he approved certain project for our community. So I'm so happy. So how can you not tell me that this is the man who wants to fight? This is somebody who is here and said, well, I'm happy with the result to get in peace. I'm happy. How I wish other community will copy you and do the same thing. And he said, to show my sign of appreciation for what you have done, I have approved ABCD project in the community. I love it. I like it. And we're happy. And let me tell you, when he get the request to see it, immediately he approved it. He didn't even delay. Because that is the type of man, that is the type of peace that wants to be. The legacy of peace that wants to be. So he's disturbed. The man is disturbed. I'm telling you about the insecurity in Southern Kaduna, about the killings of lives and properties of them. Please let us cooperate. Let us take these things into hand. Let us take peace as a serious business. That is business for everybody, not just for government. And let us know that His Excellency the Governor is not, I will not support crisis in Southern Kaduna or anywhere at all.
The program is Perspectives and it's coming to you on Victor 98.9. And we're doing a frank talk here in the studios with Barrister Francis Koza, a legal practitioner, with Dr. Salim, Dr. Yandi, Salim Yandi Ahmed, President Mabka Fubi, and Sarkin Fulani Sabongari Bypass Kaduna. And we'll go for a break now. When we come back from this break, we'll take on other issues. Welcome back. This is the program Perspectives this morning. And we're having a frank conversation in the studios this morning with Dr. Yandi Ahmed Weiriga, President Mabka Fubi, and Sarkin Fulani Sabongari Bypass Kaduna, with Barrister Francis Koza, legal practitioner, and Salim Atia. Now, let me come to you on this, Dr. Yandi. Yes, being in the forefront of the peace moves and all of that. Name calling, and when I mean name calling now, we've heard some things about that, calling betrayers of the people, sellouts, and all of that. Has that bothered you in making a move as you're doing it now? And again, to cap it up with the media that you say could be responsible for some of the problems. But I know the new media and I know the old media. Responsible media would not, do the kind of divisive situations that we're having in that area. So on the new media, everyone has turned consultant on security matters and consultant on settling issues. So for the media, I'm concerned, because we are older and we know our responsibilities. But let's talk about the sellout thing, betrayal of the people. What has it ever been like for you when you hear all of this?
Well, thank you very much. You see, I made a kind of explanation here. I always refer to faith-based situations to explain certain things that will go deep into the heart of people, that will either make them accept or they go villains. I have lived in this world for 61 years. For God's sake, what will I be afraid to say? When in Islam it is stated clearly that when you attain the age of 40, you can be able to preside and lead and give suggestion on every matter, nationally and internationally, that will bring peace. That's what the Quran stated. And there is even this adage that said, a fool at 40 remains a fool forever. So if at 60, 61, I will be afraid to look at you in the face, to look at Buhari in the face, to look Malam Nasiru El-Rufai in the face and say, Your Excellency, this is wrong, this is right. Then of what benefit am I on the surface of the earth? I to become a useless person. I'm saying this on the background of the fact that, of course, if it were not because of these detractors who, like I said, feed fat on crisis, me and Barrister Koza, we don't have to be there. We don't have to. But you see, for whatever They said every day is for the thief. But one day will be there for the owner. That one day today is my own and by Sakoza, the Atiap, the Fulani, and the Hausa, and every other person in Southern Kaduna. That one day has come. It is our own today, and shame on them. Those detractors. So, in fact, when you are carrying out a project, Mr. Toyalabi, I am so opportune to be one of the very few Fulani people that have gone through Western education up to where, by the grace of God, one has reached a level that he can defend a PhD thesis. What am I afraid of again? Mr. Toyalabi, the truth remains, these detractors, if they don't even say negative things against what you are doing, you will not be encouraged to do the right thing. So let them continue. But let me tell you, from 22nd August to date, Barrister Koza is my living witness, and every other person, they are fizzling out. And I never wanted them to fizzle so soon. Let them continue to bring their crisis, thesis. We'll put them into hypothesis, we'll turn them into theories, and we'll write project on them. And somebody will read the project and give them whatever they want or not, and definitely they are going to fail. So I am saying that I am one of the most happiest person today. When we went to Zambokata and came back from that meeting, I gathered my children. We were talking, so they were telling me, Daddy, how was the meeting? I told them it was fine. I even challenged the other people that if there is anybody who can speak Kata. Yeah. So the youngest one asked me, he said, Daddy, are you saying you can speak Kata? I went haywire. They were looking at me like this. One of my son who is 31 years old, he was asking me, Daddy, but why is it that you have not spoken this Kata for us, even for one day, throughout since when you get back to us? I said the time was not right for me to do that. Because if I had brought to speak it with you people, from what you hear in the social media about people, they are useless, outside this, that, and that, you will not appreciate it. But since we have taken a roadmap to peace today, we are going to keep the Fulani aside because it's a mastered language already, which is your father's tongue, and I will start teaching you guys Kata. So that by the time you are in Southern Kaduna, if somebody tells you, hey, I'm your engineer, you can be able to answer the person. So those detractors, for God's sake, let them carry on. They will fizzle out. If Adolf Hitler, who hit the world that time during the First and Second World War, ended up dying mysteriously, some said he hanged himself. By the grace of God, if they don't repent and come back to the roadmap of peace and allow Southern Kaduna to live, and let all those viable projects come back in Southern Kaduna, like the ginger factory in Kachia, like the tomato something that recently came in Mantok and was producing in mass and was destroyed, posterity will not only judge them negatively, but we are going to get them and handle them as human beings. How do we handle them? By bringing them to the light and to leave the darkness, so that together we will build the Southern Kaduna of our own. That is our vision.
For you, Pastor Francis Kudwa, how's it been like?
Well, it's been tough, but as a lawyer, as a tax man, I'm a tough guy. I don't allow anybody to distract me. The point is that once you have a clear vision, and you know that what you are doing is right, automatically you have no fear. Those people that are talking in social media, they feel that they are the only people who can proffer solutions, that their opinion is supreme. Everybody must stick to their opinion, even if their opinion is wrong. And that is why when those also look at the other side and say, look, man, you are wrong. This is the right way to go. They will start calling us names. They will say, we are betrayers, we are this, we are that. Jesus, my Lord, was a betrayer. They call him. So if my Lord, the man I believe in strongly that you will save me, if he's God of betrayer, what's me? Of course. So if they do that to him, they will do that to me. Even as a Christian, I have that belief. So I'm not distracted at all. We are on track. We are on track, especially in our kingdom. And we believe strongly that peace shall return to our people, and we shall all enjoy the fruit of peaceful coexistence. We will join hands to develop our people. We will join hands to develop our land so that it will be the pride of all of us. So we're all happy and say, look, that is my land. That is my kingdom. I'm from Southern Kaduna, a land of peace, a land of progress, a land of development. And that is with joy. A land where everybody is welcome. A land where everybody can call home so that we can live in peace and harmony. That is my joy. And that is what I'm fighting for. And that's by God's grace, that's what we're going to give.
Dr. Andy, before I get the lines opened, I'd like to get contributions and from the audience out there. I'd like to look at this region again, or this place called Southern Kaduna. It has produced, very top profile, if you mean, of people, in the military, human development, and all of that. It stands first, in the kind of people it has produced. And now we come to realize that for all the people living or dead from this area, and this crisis has come to this point that we've had to give our troops to bring, to fight for the peace of this area. What has happened to the intellectuals and, the top flight, citizens that we have from this area? Why has there been so much quiet on the grave on handling the issues of peace in this area?
The message is simple. From this category and cliché of people you mentioned, the message is simple. Insincerity, lack of unity of purpose, saying what you don't believe and doing what you don't agree, and using your position to exploit the common man without value for it, and then allowing overdoing of religious leaders. What the pastor will say at the podium in the church is not what he will tell his people at the community meeting. What the imam will preach when he's doing the Friday sermon is not what he will go and tell his people during the lesser prayers, the other ones in community situations and the rest of them. What the politicians will want when they need votes is not what they will do after getting the votes. And cumulatively and put together personal and selfish aggrandizement that when they acquire, and like in our own Nigerian factor, not necessarily limited to Southern Kaduna, is amassing and amassing and amassing of wealth and damning the consequences of what happened to the other larger population. If your wife, your children, your concubines, and sometimes not necessarily parents are sometimes not even lucky to enjoy the fruit of such labor from children they train. But what the wife will do, what the wife will want, what the children want, today they are in US, tomorrow they are in UK, etc., etc. And then the morals of their language being destroyed. I keep telling my people in Southern Kaduna, especially my brothers in the Atiap and other tribes, that in 20, 25 years, at most 50 years to come, most of these languages will extinct because they don't teach them the language. How, for example, on earth, when I send my child to a Western education school, then I will pay for a lesson teacher at home. I will pay for school fees while he's there to learn English. And back home here, when he comes back, I don't speak my language to him. This is a common phenomenon about the tribe of Southern Kaduna. Then when he comes back, he will be proud to say, youngest daughter, if you hear how she can speak English, and she cannot speak full day, that is destructive. Some of these things put together, and the destruction and removing history in the syllabus of educational system in this country took us to where we are today, that the children grew up, they don't know anything except what is contained in the social media. That the parents in those days did not use their wealth to enhance and build their own environment by establishing cottage industries and what for these children to be gainfully engaged, because they said an idle man is the devil's workshop, led to all these problems to where we are today. And that is why we are looking at the few among them that are alive, and we are telling them, come, join us, give us the little knowledge and wisdom that you had that time, that you didn't dispense, for us to enjoy and to step it down to the younger generation. Come and give us that thing before you die, so that we will imbibe in it, we will inculcate it among us, and then say to generation. But that generation is a generation that enjoy from our parents, whom they use the dadawa, the firewood, the burukutu, the manshanu, the mainono, to train them. When the parents knew nothing about Western education and its values, and they got it, they became generals, they became good managing directors, they became this and that, and you cannot see even a single structure of, let's say, a poultry within their own local community for people to enjoy. That is why we are where we are today. But by the grace of God, those few ones among that are left, we are going to follow them door to door. Give us. In Mogamia, for example, we want to establish this. General Air Vice Marshal Shekari, give us this. We want to do this before you die. Because you are over 80 years already. Put this. We will go to Jankasa and tell General Lekot, this is, Jankasa is a red soil and it will be good for sweet potato. We want to do this for us so that we will do this. And then we will leave to other communities. We will come to Sanuru and meet all those ones that are there and ask them to do the same thing so that the lost glory of Southern Kaduna will become back and the generation wait on them. And the few ones that are watching us will say, while we are in our grave, may God forgive them.
The conversation is a frank one this morning, and time will come to you to be part of this conversation on numbers 081 40989, 081 40989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. What we're talking about is, stepping on the peace moves, and we will caution that civility be brought into your questions and, of course, your contributions. Let's hear you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, friend.
Good morning.
I'm Kure by name.
All right, Kure, let's hear you.
Thank you. Honestly, they were spoken very well, but it seemed to me that it's late, but they never, since they've come into agreement.
Did you say late? Did you say late, Kure?
Yeah,
late
agreement. This signing of agreement, I think many guys have gone. The revised is the case. I was expecting you people, if you know the politicians know what they know how to do, turn our head and jam us and leave us. We will have settled this a long time ago, but the revised is the case.
Okay, cool. We got you. We got you.
I wish God will send us in this country.
Okay.
Have a nice day.
All right, cool. Thank you. We'll take another call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir. Good morning to all your guests here at the studio. My name is Comrade Gabriel Tesaman.
All right, Comrade Gabriel.
Well, first of all, let me say that if you talk about the media, I think Indika has been balancing in her reporting. Because most of us want to support us or if you want to go after what they are discussing. Secondly, sir, don't you think poverty contributed to this insurgency and killing here and there?
Okay.
Because as I'm speaking to
Hello? Oh, okay, but we got a bit of it. Let me come to Mr. Francis Kuza. With Kure, is this late?
Oh, it can never be late. It can never be late. People are dying day in, day out. Cases are ongoing and so on and so forth. It can never be late. I believe that this is the right time. Of course, we have had experiences how we wish this would have come on long ago. But despite the fact that it has not come on, that it's coming on now, please, it is not late. We have millions of years to live. We don't know when the war is going to come. So the better for us now, if we consolidate our efforts and ensure secure of life and property and secure our area and bring about peace, I think good for us.
All right, and then Dr. Yandi, on poverty, taking its toll on the crisis or the situation there.
Yes, it's just like what I was trying to explain before the window was open for people to talk. Like I said, any society that doesn't have the technology to produce what? What to eat first. What to domicile with your clothing, where you put your head on shelter when it is raining or when it is night or hot. And then the technology to defend how? I am not saying bringing artillery or this, no. At the community level, what we call community policy. When each house knows who is its visitor, when each community knows who are their elders, that when something happens, they run to them. It's community policy. So if a community lacks that, just like the case of Southern Kaduna, my child will go and commit crime and atrocities, and I will be the first person to carry that child and go and hide him somewhere. Instead of carrying him and handing him over to the security for prosecution so that it will serve as a deterrent to the other family. It's not what we are doing. So poverty, of course, comes in a situation where there is no peace, where there is insecurity, where there is unfaithfulness on each other's feelings, where there are, wanton lies, people who don't like to tell the truth, where people don't believe in each other, where people create unnecessary tension even if it doesn't exist. All these things leads to what? Insecurity. And once there is insecurity, the farmers cannot farm. The herders cannot rear their animals. The business people cannot go to the market because the road will be blocked and you are hacked to death and your property looted. So, until we come back and do like what His Excellency said that day when Abacha took the communique to him, where he stated clearly that he said, Your Royal Highness, all these things you mentioned, roads, schools, this, to a larger extent, they are all local government. They are within the purview and schedule of local government. But since you people have Southern Kaduna and the Achef Chiton, for example, have decided to look for venture into this project called peace, government will not hesitate. He said, as a matter of fact, Your Royal Highness, all that you mentioned, the Kaduna State government is going to handle them. It's here. It's going to handle them. Why is that so? Because peace has come. But where there is no peace, obviously, by the time the roads are to be rehabilitated, the schools to be rehabilitated, and all those things, there's no people from Zaria that they are going to bring the Hausa man from Zaria to come and do the contract, do the laborers. It is the same people, our own people, Fulani, Southern Kaduna, Fulani, Atep, and Hausa, that they are going to bring to DIC to do this, to do that. And that is enhancement. It reduces poverty. It reduces idleness. And once that is done, you will see that prosperity will begin to return to the region.
All right.
In the absence of that, there is problem.
Let's take first Moko. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
I didn't get the name.
You are saying the government.
Hello. Your name, please. Your name.
My name is Sam.
Okay, Sam.
When we are saying that the government is biased, you people will not agree with us. If a governor, a sitting governor will say that the Fulani are revenging, what do you want us to say? It's biased. By saying that word, revengers, have back.
Okay, all right. Okay, Dr. Andy, let's take on that.
What is that his name?
Sam.
Mr. Sam, I want to know if you are an indigene of Kaduna State. No governor. I don't stand being corrected. I'm speaking on authority. No governor, including our own son, late Sir Patrick Ibrahim Yakowa, was shouted at, ambushed and stoned by the same people of Southern Kaduna on the same situation in 2011 when he went to calm down our own people in Southern Kaduna on what was happening. He was stoned, he was ambushed, he was yelled at, he was taken names. So let me just advise, because for whatever one is doing, anywhere there is no people's peace and people advocate for that peace, there is problem. And if you want to point your finger at somebody, ensure and remember that the other four are looking at you. Yes, they are looking at you. And law of karma will always prevail. Governor Nasiru El-Rufai, I'm not standing in for government. I am assuring you, I have seen that man in my life only twice. When we took the communique that the Aguatab let us to go and give him, and one other time when the Honorable Minister of Environment brought palliative to Kaduna State on the issue of this COVID-19. I'm not speaking for government, and I will never speak for government. But where the truth prevails, the Bible says you should say it, the Quran says you should say it. If Nasiru made a statement that this and this and this happened, look at the substance of the statement first. I'm not standing in suggesting that Fulani doesn't perpetrate crime. We've said it here in this studio already, that the Atab are guilty, the Fulani are guilty, we've all killed each other. So therefore, when you are trying to make a contribution, especially when the whole world is trying to listen to you, cover the gaps in such a manner that you give honor to whom honor is due, and like what the Bible said, to God, give what is to God. To Caesar, give what is to Caesar.
Dr. Barrister Francis Kuza, on this too.
Well, thank you very much. Let me tell you, Tway, that the truth of the matter is that both of us have killed each other. We have made that point clearly, that the Fulanis have been killed in the Kingdom, the Etiam has been killed, their properties have been burnt, and the Hausas. Who killed them? Who killed them? Whatever qualification you give, whether you say retribution, whether it is strangers, whatever, the truth of the matter still lies that we have killed each other. And we accepted that fact in our community, that we have wronged each other, we have killed each other, we have destroyed each other. So whatever definition you give to that killing is killing. We have accepted that fact. We have passed the stage of blaming each other. We are now blaming ourselves. We have passed the age of blaming the governor. We are now blaming ourselves. And we are saying that we have resolved to live in peace. Please let us people support it. And then we are better off for it.
And that will just be about the size of the program perspectives today. And just doing frank talk in the studios today on peace moves in the southern part of Kaduna State. And my guests have been Barrister Francis Kuza, Salim Atiab, and a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, we also had Dr. Yande Ahmad Meriga, President Mopka Fobe, and Sarki Fulani Sabungari Bypass Kaduna. Doctor, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure.
All right, and we also like to give kudos to Emmanuel Ado for being in the team here. Thank you, Emmanuel. And of course, to you, Prince, thank you for connecting us with the people. We'll come back with you on the program Perspective tomorrow. Good morning.